everyone talks about, serving SMEs.
Yes.
But does everyone really serve SMEs?
Well, I like that conversation because I always say, Ali, it's such a very controversial conversation to have, because when I read articles, when I read what people talk about SMEs out here, everybody says, for example, the biggest problem that SMEs face is lack of access to capital. But from where I sit, I hold actually a different opinion.
What's that opinion?
Yes,
Talk to us about it.
for example, let me just use that specifically as an example. So when you look at SMEs currently, they usually complain about lack of access to capital.
Yes.
But to me, that's not their main problem.
Okay.
So we usually say you need to look at the underlying needs,
Okay.
because lack of access to capital has been driven by something.
Yes.
So when these particular,
it's a symptom of a bigger problem.
it's a symptom. Okay. So when you look at what is the cause to lack of financing, because financial institutions exist, and not just financial institutions, not just banks, but even the fintech space is actually offering a lot of credit opportunities each and every other day. Recently, the government is also now starting to also offer the Hustler Fund. So access to capital is there. But the biggest challenge is usually how to de-risk most of these SMEs, because for you to offer financing,
De-risk.
Yes.
Could you just
break it down?
unpack that for me?
So when you talk about de-risk, is nobody wants to take that high risk when offering credit to people. So we've always had the conversation around big data and using data to actually come up with models to credit score these businesses. Okay. So the biggest challenge we are facing with the SME sector is that we actually lack enough information about them so that we can actually offer them financing. So it's not about access to the finance. The financing is there. Everybody wants to give financing today. But the challenge is that they lack the tools that actually help them to keep their records. Because when you want to give them financing, you tell them we need management accounts, we need your bank statements, we need all these.
So data is one of the biggest problems that SMEs face, or insights from that data.
Yes.
Okay. So how does UserPoint help in this?
So let me take a few steps back, if you can allow me.
Please go ahead.
Let's think about what has been happening in the fintech space and how actually people have actually benefited from financing. So right now, most people actually get mobile loans.
Correct.
But that is actually based on your personal data.
Yes.
I actually say, as I said, I'm a bit controversial in this particular space.
Oh, join the club, man.
Yes.
Join the club.
So most businesses are actually financed based on the owner's credit score.
Correct.
Not based on the business credit score.
That is interesting.
But the challenge is because for the business owner, Abraham.
So this is mostly in the MSME space.
This is mostly the SME space.
So that's micro, small, medium enterprises. So let's just step back again to just be clear. I heard what you are saying clearly.
Yes.
Most businesses in this space are actually funded based on the owner's credit score.
Yes.
Not on the business his credit score.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because they lack enough data about the businesses. So think about it and go to Nyamakema, where it's like where co-business actually happens in Nairobi CBD. Those people don't keep records. They actually just exchange cash. Ask that business owner, how much inventory they have. Probably they do not know. Okay?
And they don't differentiate between personal cash and business cash.
And they don't. So most of
is that deliberate, or is that because they don't know any better?
Well, I will not want to speak on their behalf because I know.
In your experience.
Yes. So of course at times it's deliberate.
Okay.
But also at times is also to understand the nature of their business. Okay. But at the end of the day, we actually need, because data, we need a lot of data, especially in the space. And we need to evolve so that we can actually give these people financing.
Yes.
So what we need to do is actually try and get solutions that can actually pick a lot of data from these SMEs. And then we use that data, pass that data to financial institutions, to CRPs, so that we can actually come up with a very nice credit score for these SMEs. But right now, what happens? Look at all the mobile loans. It's actually based on M-Pesa statements, based on
that is correct
info that is actually coming
mostly based on mobile money.
Yes, yes. So we need to change that narrative. So you asked a question, what is UserPoint actually doing? So what we've built as UserPoint is actually a bookkeeping solution for SMEs, which they can actually use to access it either on mobile or on web. And it actually operates as a software as a service. So when you talk about software as a service, we're actually talking about where you can access the solution by paying a subscription. So you're just paying for a license. And we came to realize that most of these SMEs have looked for solutions out there. Of course, we know about the big solutions. We know about the SAP, the Sage, and all that. They've looked for affordable solutions that can actually work for them, but it's very hard to find. And so we've offered them this solution that is very easy to use. Another key thing that we actually realized as we're offering this solution, the people who actually use these products are not tech savvy. So in the past, most people have actually opted to get accounting solutions. So for me, I always say UserPoint is not an accounting solution. It's actually a bookkeeping solution. So think about it this way. My biggest competitor, Ali, today,
differentiate for me,
is a book.
Accounting system and bookkeeping system.
So let me repeat this. My biggest competitor is a book. Okay? So
your biggest competitor
is a book.
Is that black book?
Is that black book? It's even good that
sitting
actually,
at a kiosk.
Yes. that is actually my biggest competitor today. So what are people doing?
And how many of those books are out there?
They're everywhere. Go to a Mama Mboga.
Oh my God.
And let me tell you, Ali, I didn't even say it's a black book. You know it's a black book. Because
I know it's a black book.
It has been that way since way back.
Yes.
So
as I was, in my younger days, as I was growing up as a professional, money was always hard to come by.
Yes.
You go to your kiosk, your neighborhood kiosk, boss, tupatie maziwa hapa.
Yes.
Nitalipa. I write it down.
Let me
for some reason,
let me correct
always
you.
A black book.
Let me correct you.
Yes.
They didn't, for credit, they didn't write on the front page. They used to.
They used to write in the
back page. Yes. And it's standard. And nobody teaches you this thing. And it has been there and it's still there. That's my biggest competitor. So what are we doing?
Yes.
Instead of writing on that book, that's what we call bookkeeping. You actually put those records in an automated place. Exactly. So when you talk about your receivables, because in another language now, if you now start speaking a bit of accounting.
Yes.
So when you offer credit to your customers, that's actually receivables.
Yes.
Okay. So that's exactly what you're trying to do, because at the end of the day, why these businesses complain of some of these issues is because, for example, they don't know how to manage their cash flows.
Yes.
So if you don't know how to manage your cash flows, because cash flows is a matter of make sure your customers are not paying you on credit, but you actually negotiate with your suppliers on credit. And I like to give an example. Let me give a typical example of this bottle of water.
Correct.
So you buy this water.
Do that, let me take a sip.
Yes. So if you buy this water today at 300 shillings, okay, you're meant to pay the supplier after 30 days. Okay. So you sell it tomorrow. How much have you made? Let's say you sell it at 500 shillings. You've actually made...
You made 200.
You've made 200.
Correct.
Tomorrow, you have 500 shillings, go and buy another bottle of water.
Yes.
Do that every single day. You've built working capital. So, and this is what I always talk about.
There's also this other thing that maybe you deal with, but it's subtle, but most businesses really don't take cognizant about. It's the difference between when you get paid and when you pay your suppliers.
Yes.
And that difference, those days or weeks or months, would determine whether you actually make a profit or not.
Yes. It's exactly what I was explaining. Because you're actually using other people's money.
OPM, as I like to call it.
Yes, to actually build your capital. But are SMEs aware of these things? Because, as you said, they turn their book, they write.
That's it. There's no insight. There's data nothing. In analog form. Okay.
So if Ali doesn't walk or pass by my shop, I don't even remember. How many records are you keeping? At times, it's even weird because you have a lot of traffic flow or footfall in your shop. You don't even write it down. You forget.
And that's it. It's gone.
That's it.
Hiyo imeenda, as we like to
hiyo
say.
imeenda